Welcome, podcast fans. It's time for the What's Up Bro podcast show presented by J&J Production Studios, the home for all your entertainment needs. All kinds of great topics discussed every week, a variety of different themes offered, special guest appearances, prize giveaways, and so much more. Stay tuned. And now, here are your hosts, Samcro and Big Hoss.
Hello and good afternoon, everybody. And apologies, actually, I hit the wrong intro button. But nevertheless, it's still the What's Up Bro show. But this is a special edition NFL playoffs of the What's Up Bro sports show. What's going on, sports fans? How have you been hanging? How's it going? What crazy playoffs we've had thus far. Can you believe it? This coming weekend, where are we at? Today is Wednesday, January 24th. I believe the next game is on Saturday, the 27th. We have championship weekend, 4 teams remaining in the NFL to see which teams will advance and square off, representing their respective conferences in the NFL. It is the number 1 seed Baltimore Ravens hosting the Kansas City Chiefs, and the number 1 seed San Francisco 49ers hosting the Detroit Lions. And gotta say, right off the bat, if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out and you missed the playoffs over the weekend, you missed a lot. There were some absolute, I think stunning, or stunners is, I don't even know how to describe it. You can't even describe it. It's beyond stunning in a lot of capacity. If you've been watching or haven't watched it, check it out. Unbelievable how some things have really changed. Now, as I said previously, if you missed the last episode, you can go check it out. It's available now. But some of the predictions that I had coming true there, but not to the way and to the level I expected. So I'm going to pull this up because it's been a little bit. I know I remember some of these. I just want to pull this up from memory. I want to pull this up so I don't have to pull it from memory. Let's find NFL here. The playoff picture might give me enough to just work off of. Actually, no, it doesn't do it, does it? I don't know why I can never get this down. While I do it, though, just a reminder for you guys to check it out this weekend. Brand new episodes of the What's Up Bro podcast show. Friday and Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check it out. Hope to see you guys there. We always look forward to it. We are trying to incorporate more of these episodes, so we try to get some bonus episodes out for you guys, as well as some extra special content when we can. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. It's a brand new year, brand new opportunities. We're trying new things and seeing what was going to work for us and what you guys enjoy. So I think I need scores here. Hopefully you'll do that. Apologies, I'm still multitasking here. Okay, here we go. Let's go back. How far back do we want to go? Is it just a divisional weekend? No, I think let's go back to wild card. Yeah, we got to start from the very beginning because I feel like we haven't really talked about this. We talked right before the playoffs started. So let's get this right off the bat too. And we're going to just dive right in here, pick this apart. Not going to be a super long episode, of course, as you guys know, but we'll take a short break in between. Let's go back and revisit and travel through time. Here was our little soundbite here. Let's travel through time. And let's go back and revisit how the NFL playoffs have gone thus far. So, let me see. Wild card weekend. Some huge, exciting games. Now, some of these I predict... Actually, I know a couple of these I predicted that were grossly wrong. Let's start with the first games that we've had. So, the first set of games were on Saturday, January 13th. We had the Houston Texans hosting the Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Miami Dolphins. Now, as I recall, and it's been a little bit, but I'm fairly certain I can recall my predictions there. I know I had the Browns beating the Texans, and I think I said they could do it, but I still think I had the Chiefs beating the Dolphins. But the scores are what really drives you, and we'll get to the bigger one first. Let's get to the obvious one here. So the Kansas City Chiefs obviously did defeat the Miami Dolphins, 26-7. Far cry from what Miami has done all season long, which is really, I think, the most shocking part. Is it a shock that they lost? No. Kansas City is a tough team, got to admit. They've struggled, and I don't think they'll make it all the way. Baltimore's been pretty hot, but Miami has just kind of had a bad run of luck off and on too, kind of like how Buffalo had this year. But it wasn't shocking. I expected the score to be a little tighter than that, so that was the big shocker for there. But even more importantly, the big shocker for that first game of the weekend, How about the Houston Texans? Now, Houston has been eliminated. They did lose, which we'll get to that coming up. I think that was my prediction for the following weekend. But let's do this. Huge props. Let's give a big round of applause to the Houston Texans. Just for getting this far, because I myself was was hugely skeptic that they could make it, but they did, and massive props to them. I think they'll be back. I didn't think they'd have enough. I thought, Jacksonville was leading that division. They snuck up and stole the division at the end. They're prepped to go, and yes, they get knocked out, but the Cleveland Browns under Joe Flacco, who even at 38 years of age is still slinging the ball very well, was on a huge win streak. Now, I predicted the Browns to win. First of all, it's shocking enough that they lost, but it was by the score that astounds me. And I watched some of the highlights from that game. The Texans defeated the Browns 45-14. How about that? I know, what? Never thought I'd say those words, but yeah, they did, and they advanced, which, again, kudos to them. It was massive. That was huge. They were heavily underdogged going into that game, and they were the home team. So congratulations, huge win to them. And again, I know they've knocked out at this point, but it's still something to be proud of as far as you got. The other big surprising games this week, let's get we'll get the other minor ones out, because there's a couple other ones that were there. The Buffalo Bills did defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-17. They had advanced. The Detroit Lions narrowly beating the Los Angeles Rams 24-23. The other two big games we're going to talk about here, and at this very point in time. And then, actually, before the break, we'll get through all the playoffs to the point, and then we'll do playoff prediction, Super Bowl game predictions in the second half, which we'll probably do a Super Bowl special at some point. But I just want to make sure that this is out there for just for all you guys to have some thought and to really debate. And if you want to, discuss it or share your thoughts with us, please feel free to do so. We'd love to have you do that. Okay, so the two big games, and these were massively huge for a couple of reasons, and I will say this. I think I had these predictions all wrong. Actually, I did. But the scoring, astronomical. And when I go over this, let's go over the first gameplay, which was the Packers at the Cowboys. Now, I had Dallas winning. Obviously, Dallas is at home. They have to be favored, right? It should be a good game, but that should be a game at least the Cowboys can win. Boy, were we wrong. And I'll tell you the score, but I got to go through it. I want to get the breakdown of it because it just does not... You just have to put this picture together if you didn't watch the game. So the Packers upset and shocked the Dallas Cowboys at home by defeating them 48-32. Now, while that is a closer score, my biggest concern was, especially in this before even halftime, it was 20-7. Okay, not anywhere close, which you could pretty much chalk it up and say it's over by halftime. Granted, and the Cowboys did come back, but that's a huge, huge letdown for Dallas fans who I'm sure were completely dumbfounded and awestruck by the fact that not only do you lose, but you lose in spectacular fashion. I don't understand it. I really don't. And again, kudos to the Packers, who were also just recently eliminated. They worked hard to get where they're getting, though. So you give them credit, too, because I hadn't had them even making the playoffs. But they did. So kudos to them there. But how does that happen? Then it raises all these questions. We know the Cowboys have made a decision on Mike McCarthy. He's back for another year. He gets upset by his old team, who actually he won a Super Bowl with, as coach of the Packers more than a decade ago. But it was just absolutely shocking. But to me, really, and this is the question, the other game that was the shocker. The Philadelphia Eagles traveled to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay's had a good run this year. I did have the Eagles. I said they could be the winner for this game. Kind of the way I was leaning. They lost, but again, by the score. 32-9. How does that happen? I think for me, honestly, and why I mentioned this is the debate question was, which was the bigger upset? The Cowboys lost by their score or the Eagles? And honestly, if you boil it down, it has to be the Eagles, because we come to know the Cowboys have their rough patches. They tend to choke and they get sketchy in the playoffs. And yeah, it's a massive loss, and it would shock anybody. But it's interesting that the Eagles, who started the year 10-1, I believe it was, at one point, and the old saying goes, how far the mighty have fallen, they fell pretty hard and pretty fast, because that's a huge, not a single touchdown in that game. Which, let's look at the game cast, because that'll give us the full stats. It's still up here. Oh, I'm sorry, there was one touchdown. So it must have been, I don't know because I didn't watch the game. So, who was the touchdown? Oops, I'm sorry, there's a audio. There we go. Oh, Dallas Goedert caught it. Oh, wait, that's a 2-point run. No, so Dallas Goedert was the pass from Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts tried to run it in for a 2-point conversion, and that failed. So that's how it was done. Okay. I was going to say I should have checked that first. Okay, so 1 touchdown. But still, super underachieving for Philly, and a huge, massive disappointment. Now, I also said if Philadelphia does advance, I don't see them. They're not going to beat the Niners, obviously, but they had a good shot to beat Tampa Bay. So there is that. But man, massively huge. Now in the divisional round, we move forward. If the internet will work on me here and load, which there we go. Hang on, bear with me. Where is it? Excuse me. There we go. We have our teams advancing. The Houston Texans did fall to the Baltimore Ravens, 34-10. Close one, though, I got to say. For the 49ers, they did prevail, 24-21, but the Pack had them on their toes up till the end. I thought another upset was brewing, and the way the playoffs were going, it wouldn't be surprising. But Niners held off. They're moving on. The Detroit Lions knocking off the Buccaneers. The most interesting game, and I feel bad, it was back and forth. They really didn't start strong. The Bills and the Chiefs game. It really came down to the wire, but Kansas City narrowly snaked by 27-24 to advance to the title game, which, again, a huge shout-out to the teams that make it. I know it's hard because, and again, I didn't play professional sports, but I played, in school and everything. When you have a chance to make it to the playoffs, it is an accomplishment in and of itself. And from an athlete standpoint, I know that really means nothing because it's still a failure, right? Your whole season rides on making the playoffs. It's just hard enough. But you don't want it. It's almost like when you go back and look at the championship game, whether it's the World Series or the Super Bowl or whatever, you make it to the championship game and you lose. Kind of like I think about the Patriots doing that back in they mentioned that the 2008 season where they were 18-0 and lose the Super Bowl. And I know recently they had asked Tom Brady that question. I think it was on his podcast or he appeared on a show. And they said, if you could go back, would you trade that? What would you rather have, the perfect season or the Super Bowl? And I like Tom's answer where he said, I would rather have the Super Bowl. I would trade away the perfect season to have another championship. And that's true athletes saying that in competitive fashion. So there's that. But it's really just, it's impressive. Now, I'm going to stick with my predictions to keep it short before we head into the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about that in the latter part of this episode, which we're going to take a break here in just a minute or two. I do have Baltimore knocking off the Chiefs, and I have the 49ers knocking out Detroit, which would set up a 2012 rematch of the Ravens and the Niners in the Super Bowl, which we will talk about predictions there in the latter half and maybe some potential other, some small stories going around the NFL too that obviously are groundbreaking and huge. We'll just touch on those a little bit as well. But yeah, definitely not a year of surprises. But I suppose, and this is a fun fact, I saw this all over social media, which a lot of you guys may have seen, but if you didn't, you can check it out. These playoffs, the 2024 playoffs, for the first time since 1998, I believe it was, the NFL playoffs do not feature Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, and that's 26-year span now. So that's definitely a sign of the times, and like I said, my childhood is over. I'm happy for the guys. We knew the run was coming to an end, especially the last few years for New England with Tom. Wasn't shocking. Knew it was going to happen, but glad it did. And kudos for those guys that are finally able to kick back and relax. And all good things have to come to an end anyway. So, but yeah. So there you go. But definitely, I got to say, nothing short of interesting, and we'll have to see, how that affects teams going forward in the future, and a lot of big changes. We know the Philadelphia Eagles are changing their coaching staff a bit. We'll talk about some other interesting coaching news coming around as well. Give some little bit of thought there. Maybe actually some impending free agents too. There's a couple that I saw too from today's sports broadcasting there as well. So we'll have to mention those a little bit too. But definitely not disappointing, I got to say. I mean, disappointing if you're a fan of your team that lost by a huge margin, whether you're a Cowboys or Eagles fan, that is disappointing. I'm not saying that. But, I mean, the excitement factor is what's really interesting and what's unique about this whole thing. So from that standpoint, it's definitely doesn't fail to impress whatsoever. So there is that. There you go. Let's get ready to take a short pause here. We'll come back. We'll talk about how the Super Bowl looks like it might go. I'll give you my thoughts there. We'll talk a little bit about some other NFL news for the day. Just wanted to touch up here and give you guys something special for your midweek. It's happy hump day, actually. It's Wednesday. We're halfway through the work week. The weekend will be here. And, of course, your favorite nighttime hosts, Samcro and Big Hoss, will be back. Brand new episodes on Friday and Saturday evening. Can't wait to spend time with you guys at that point. Hope you guys are having a good one, having a great day. Hopefully this will get you through your work day. It'll be over soon enough. The day is almost half over. I know, it goes fast, right? Looking forward to more with you guys. Stick around. Stay tuned. We'll do more on the sports show on this special NFL Playoff Edition when we return for more. Stick around. And, of course, as always, check us out on our Linktree. You can follow us there. Find the streaming services where our podcast shows can be found. And, of course, catch up with us on all social media platforms. Whatever is your peak and your fancy, go for that there. Check it out now. Linktree.com/J_J Production Studios. We'll be right back for more as soon as I find there we go. I want to make sure I find the right spot to send you guys to a good commercial here. Stay tuned for more. See you in just a moment. Take a huddle, take a break. It's a water break. Hit the locker room, and then we'll come back for the second half. See you shortly. Stay tuned.
Hey audio fans, are you looking for fun and excitement? Have you been searching for that special show You know, the one complete package you want in a podcast? Then check out the What's Up Bro podcast show and experience what true entertainment is all about. Stay tuned and don't miss the action. Available on your favorite streaming services, including YouTube. Thank you for all your support. And as always, we'll see you at the show.
We'll be right back to the show with more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back to the show with more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back to the show with more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back to the show with more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. Break time is over. We're so glad you stayed tuned. Now back to the action as the show is set to resume.
All right, welcome back, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out there. If you're having a rough day, hopefully this will make up for it, because we definitely try to provide the best entertainment we possibly can. And of course, there's plenty of opportunity to listen to all kinds of things, so we're really glad, as always, if you guys listen and choose to listen to us, rather. We very much appreciate that. So thank you so much for choosing us. We're so glad to be here. And of course, as always, we appreciate the support. We know there's a lot of interest on the main show, which we're so thankful for. We couldn't thank you guys enough. We appreciate that. So thank you for your support there. So diving back in here, apologies with you too. I'm still trying to circumvent the episode so that depending on where you listen to it, especially on social media, trying to get it out there for you guys to be able to find it. I think I just have one more link to share, so bear with me here. We're going to talk about then looking into the Super Bowl, which we now know we don't know that, rather. I'm basing this on a prediction I'm basing this on prediction that this is what's going to happen, which, again, I can't say for certain, based strictly on the fact that we haven't seen the games yet. We don't know. I mean, again, and the way that things have gone as of recently, it's fair enough to say that anything could really happen. So this is really just what I fully believe here, and we believe here at the studio, is going to happen. But, again, we don't know for sure just because the games haven't been played yet. This is just based on the fact, as I said, my predictions are the Ravens and the 49ers make the Super Bowl. So let's assume that is the case, and I think that's a high interest. But, again, Kansas City is a tough team, and, Detroit, as much as the Lions, I think they still have a lot of growth to go. Lions fans should be excited because there was tremendous growth this year, for sure. So be proud of your team, and just know that regardless, I know obviously the hopes are to make it. I would love to see Detroit get there personally, but it is what it is. If they do, great, and if they don't be disheartened because that's the way things roll sometimes. But assuming that they don't, and again, I'm sticking by my predictions for now. Baltimore and the 49ers. Now, I don't remember much about the 2012 Super Bowl. Obviously, knowing that Baltimore won, but I expect this to be a great game nevertheless. So, but it's what it is. And based on that, though, I would hope. Hang on, I'm sorry, I'm multitasking here. It should be a close one. Now, margin of closeness, I'm going to say a spread of about 6 to 7 points. I just feel like a touchdown in general sounds about right. I don't think field goals are going to be the case. So, I mean, it could be a field goal. I don't know. I just feel like both these teams have had solid games where they've been scoring pretty high and rolling with it. So, I suspect that that's still going to be the case. So, but yeah, it should be close. If I gave a final prediction just loosely based, I would say oh geez, it's gonna be hard. I'd say like a 28-21. I don't think it's gonna be super super high scoring, but I think at least a 3 touchdown margin and at least 3.5, I think is fair. So that's my prediction. If you guys want to contradict or discuss, we will do that. So, but yeah, that's where I think we're going there. If you feel free to disagree, if you guys want to share it, comment anywhere, let us know. We'd love to hear that. But I'm going to say 28-21. The Baltimore Ravens are crowned champions, which I'm hoping for. I know Baltimore has had a championship runs before, but for Lamar Jackson more so, because I feel like, with Patrick Mahomes overshadowing, I just feel like it'd be good for him, and I'd love to see at least get one for his career there. I'm sure he can get more than one, but it's just one of those things you at least want to get that first one under your belt. So we'll see what happens. But really, honestly, my bigger thing would be Baltimore or Detroit. If Detroit and the Lions make it, I'm rooting for them heavily. I hope they can do it. I always love to root for the underdog, and since they don't have a single win amongst them, I think that would be wonderful for the franchise and for the city. So we'll see how that goes. But at any rate, let's just talk briefly here before we wrap up about some of the massive news going around. There's so much stuff happening. Pending free agents. I don't want to speculate too much. We might have to do an off-season edition of that. We can't really do that now because there's just pure speculation at this point. But we know there's a lot of big-name free agents that could be on the move. So, but let's talk about the coaching changes because that's huge. And you guys know, too, if you missed it and you've been living under a rock, which could happen, but one of the massive and biggest changes is after 24 years, almost a quarter of a century, just like Tom Brady almost did, is basically almost the same virtually thing. Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots had agreed to part ways this past week or so. I think it's almost 2 weeks now. And it's not totally shocking. I've been saying this. I don't know if I predicted this on the air doing it, but I've said this. I've shared this with people close because everybody asked, what do you think? It wasn't working in New England. Over the last 4 years, Belichick won playoff appearance and just hasn't succeeded since then. So it just makes sense. But you're not going to humiliate a guy like Belichick who's been so much to the organization, like Tom Brady did, bringing 6 titles to the city, the franchise. So that just made sense to part ways. Now, last update rumors are, and nothing is confirmed, it is seemingly looking like Belichick is set to be hired as the new head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. I know, shocker, right? I couldn't understand it. But new reports have surfaced that Belichick is tired of these bigger market media teams and he wants to do a small market, quiet, under the radar type deal, which makes sense. That also rules out the Los Angeles Chargers because that was another spot that looked possible. However, latest updates indicate that it's seemingly, now again, this is just a report, this is not confirmed. The Chargers are seeming to zero in on former Michigan head coach, or current Michigan head coach, Jim Harbaugh, who was the head coach of the 49ers, who faced off against his brother John Harbaugh with the 49ers against the Ravens back in that first Super Bowl matchup that we're talking about. It's kind of a rematch going back. So that should be interesting. But it looks like that they're leaning that way. Nothing's confirmed. The only confirmed coaching changes are, which congratulations to them, I almost said Oakland Raiders. See how old I am? The Las Vegas Raiders have removed the interim tag on head coach Antonio Pierce. Former linebacker in the NFL is now the permanent head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Tennessee Titans, after firing Mike Vrabel, have hired former offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals, Brian Callahan. Congrats to those guys. Those are confirmed thus far. More coaching changes should come out. The Falcons, though, are doing their due diligence. They've been interviewing candidates like crazy, and at least two times the interviews for every candidate. So they're really digging deep. The Panthers are still searching for their head coach. Who else we got out there? The Commanders, and there's a few others. There might be a couple more coming out. We don't know yet, but I think so far it's about it. The Patriots. Oh, and Gerard Mayo, of course, obviously the successor for Belichick as the head coach in New England. But lots of fun stuff going on. We'll keep you guys posted, too. If you guys hear any fun stories, especially in the sports world, you want to share them with us, hit us up on social media. Email us, J_J productionstudios@yahoo.com. We'd love to hear about it. We'll definitely talk about it. And we'll be glad to share it with you guys and give you a shout out, especially if you leave us your name or information. We'll be happy to shout you out there for sure. So there you have it, folks. Playoff weekend's upon us. Don't miss the games. Let me give you the actual time frame and channels just so we don't mess this up. So tune in this Sunday. The first matchup is going to be, they're both big, but the Baltimore Ravens host the Kansas City Chiefs at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on CBS. We also have, and then on Fox later, the San Francisco 49ers host the Detroit Lions in Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California, to see who will be our AFC champion and NFC champion and will square off in Super Bowl 58, which takes place in Las Vegas, Nevada. We'll try to do an update on that, maybe a Super Bowl special when we get there, but we hope this is going to give you guys enough entertainment and information for now. Of course, again, make sure you tune in this Friday and Saturday night for the What's Up Bro podcast show. New episodes for you guys every week. We're working on to expanding the schedule as well, so hopefully we'll have more information for you guys there too. We'll get the game corner going again, Law and Justice show, ASMR Nighttime Sleep, the review show, Chilling with Me, Colorado Music and Live Streaming with Big Hoss. I think I missed one somewhere. There's so many, I can't keep track sometimes. More sports show episodes, of course, as well. We're going to hit them all. So it's going to be a brand new year, brand new opportunities. We're looking forward to it. We hope you guys are as well. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great rest of your week. I'm going to play the correct ending for this podcast, even though I screwed up the first one, so apologies there. Again, of course, it's always the What's Up Bro show, but we try to mix it up just to differentiate. We want them to be like our children. They're equal and they're different, but yet they're not the same. That makes sense? Hopefully it does. If you're a parent, you get it, right? Understandable. So, at any rate, you guys, have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you guys this weekend for more. Good day. Goodbye for now. Have a great rest of the week. And until the weekend, we'll see you guys again there at the show.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Be sure to check J&J Production Studios on Linktree for all the streaming services and social media accounts where our shows are featured. We love and appreciate all your support. And as always, until next time, we'll see you at the show.